all of the headlines last year, we were actually quite sad to see you go from Radio 2. It was a bit of a shock to all of us. Was it a tough decision to make?
I was quite sad. It was quite a shock to me as well. When it came to it, the decision was quite an easy one. Ultimately, it was quite an easy one because the decision was, do you want to go and start a brand new radio station, Scala, or do you want to stay doing this thing that you're doing at Radio 2? And I thought, on balance, I'd never been at the start of anything. I've never launched anything. I've always just joined other networks, which have been fine. But the thought of starting something was too impossible to say.
But maybe if you'd still been doing your show on your own, that opportunity might not have happened. Now, I loved your show when it was just you. And this is no disrespect to Joe, who's an amazing broadcaster as well.
She is.
But the trouble with... And the two of your pals. I mean, you know, there's absolutely no hard feelings at all. But what a daft decision. There's your show, doing really, really well. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And then it just seemed really a bizarre decision to me. I was just baffled, Simon. I was baffled.
This is like 1,000 conversations I've had at home.
And all the listeners as well.
They were trying to do the right thing. You know, they were trying to... The Germans have a word for it, which is Verschlimmbesserung. It means an improvement that makes things worse. You might have encountered a few over the years. And they wanted to do the right thing, and they ended up by making a mistake, and I did tell them it was a mistake. But can I just say, at that point, because it's been reported, you know, that listeners deserted in droves, and then other journalists have just repeated that. It's not true. And Joe and I finished on 6.2 million listeners. You know, so actually the show worked. And although it was a bit clunky to start with, which I take full responsibility for...
But it was going to be, because you're somebody else's...
Look, the Drive Time show that I did at Radio 2 was the happiest show that I've ever done. And I loved it, and we had a great team, and it was fantastic. And then it stopped. But I'd had, you know, 30 years at the BBC doing shows for Radio 1, 5 Live, and Radio 2. And I'd had great support from management, and everything had been great. Then the last year, less so. So therefore, when the offer came to go and jump ship, I thought, you know what, this sounds...
You might not have done it otherwise, and actually, maybe it's not... I mean, it's quite good sometimes to be challenged like that, isn't it? When does it all kick off? When does it all start?
It starts on Monday.
Right, OK.
When I finish
and how are you feeling about it?
Well, we're going through quite a lot of rehearsals at the moment, and the start of anything is always quite scary. And mine is the first show, 10 o'clock on Monday, this Monday.
Right, so you launched the whole blinking thing. So what can we expect? Is it going to be kind of what we've heard on Radio 2, or is it going to be different?
There are test transmissions running at the moment, so you get a sense of what Scala's going to sound like already, but it will be me. It will definitely be me presenting the way I have always presented over 30 years. There will be confessions. So the two kind of signature things that I take away from Drive Time, one was confessions and the other was All Request Friday, which was the most joyful programme that I've ever presented. So we're taking that and we're going to do it every day.
Excellent.
So we're going to do confessions every day just after 11. We're going to do requests every day just after 12. So it will be me on the radio being me again. I got a tweet from someone just after when I finished Drive Time saying, whatever you do next, I want you to be you again. I know that sounds as though I've made it up, but it's not.
No,
I genuinely said that.
I get that.
So that when this offer came through, I thought, actually, this does give me that opportunity. And we're playing Mozart rather than Marvin Gaye, but it's still going to be... It's an entertainment radio station. You know, it's not highbrow, and it's not difficult or awkward, and I think people will be surprised by how we're defining classical music, so there'll be a lot of surprises in there.
I think so many people love classical music. Sometimes they don't even realise that they do, and sometimes I think people get a bit intimidated by it, which is terribly sad.
I think that's all changing.
It's for everybody. I agree with you. I think it has changed
dramatically. Partly, I mean, this revolution that's happening, I think, is mainly due to Spotify and Apple Music and YouTube, where people can go, I heard that piece of music on a computer game, or I heard that in a film.
Or an ad or something.
Or an ad. What is that? And then they go and find it. They go, actually, I quite like that. Oh, I didn't know that I liked that. You know, so people don't think in compartments anymore, I don't think.
And it's music you love as well, because I know you love all kinds of music. You have to.
I mean, I've always listened to classical music. It's just nothing that I've ever been asked to play professionally. Although my very first radio programme, which was for local radio, for Radio Nottingham, back in 82, 83, was a 20-minute classical music programme called Break for Music. So I did play a lot of classical music then.
It's incredible.
In a way, yes, it has done.
Well, look, that's exciting enough, isn't it? That's exciting enough. But you've just come back from Australia.
I have. I'm a little bit jet-lagged, I'm afraid.
But one of your books has been turned into a TV series, which is amazing.
Yeah, so Itch, which was the first book that I wrote, which came out a number of years ago, there were 3 Itch books, and it was set in Cornwall, but for various complicated reasons, it's being filmed in Albany in Western Australia.
Right.
So it's now an Australian story, but they're hoping to sell it around the world. So that was very strange to hear words that I'd written at my kitchen table in London 8 years ago being spoken by...
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful thing. Also, another book, we might see it turned into a movie. Who knows? Mad
Blood Stirring is the current novel, it's just come out in paperback, and yes, Tessa Ross, one of the great film producers, has signed the rights to it, and Jack Thorne, who wrote the Harry Potter play, and he's done His Dark Materials, which is just about to start on the BBC. He's written a screenplay, which is amazing. So look, there are 1,000 reasons why things don't get made into movies, but it's, you know, it's looking good, and it's...
How exciting.
It's a great
Do you
story.
know what? I feel as if you're in such a great place, and I'm so happy because, you know, I miss you on Radio 2. I really do.
It's very kind.
But we can get you next week from 10 o'clock?
Yes, you can get me next week from 10 o'clock every day, including Saturdays, Lorraine. So there's going to be even more of me around, I'm afraid to say.
Well, I'm glad. I'm very glad.
Thank you,
because you're a cracking broadcaster. Simon, thank you for coming in.
Thank you for
Good luck with
having me
everything. Keep us posted about the movie, though. That's so exciting.
Thank you. I'm happy to come back and tell you about it.